Hi, I'm Kristen from That Blooming Garden. I'm here to talk a little bit about how to get your garden started next in the spring. It's pretty early, it's only January, but I'm actually doing my first garden class next week and I'm pretty excited about it. One of the things that I always tell new gardeners that I think is one of the most important things you could learn is about crop rotation, especially in the vegetable garden. Not so much important in the flower garden, but vegetable garden for sure. So I've made up this chart ready to go to try and explain what plant families there are. And it's really important if you're growing vegetables to know your plant families. So we'll take a look at this chart. What I've done is I've done 2 years. I've done 2017 and 2018, and it's how I'm going to rotate my crops. So the rectangles represent different plant families and different beds. So in the first bed, in bed number 1 here, I've actually got the legume family. That consists of plants like your peas, your beans, your lentils, edamame, fava beans, plants like that. And then the second bed, I've got the brassica family. There's so many plants in the brassica family, and they're very, very prone to a lot of problems with pests. So you might want to keep them all together, and it's easier to control pests, especially if you're gardening organically. So in the brassica family, those are plants like kale, broccoli, turnip, cauliflower, cabbage, rutabaga, radishes, mustard, greens, so many. There's a lot more that I can't even fit on here. Your bok choys and your pak choy are another one. And in the third bed, I've got the Solanaceae family. So it gets kind of confusing, all that Latin, right? But this group of plants is your tomatoes, your peppers, your potatoes, your eggplant, and your tomatillos. And this family tends to get a lot of problems with blight. So really important to rotate these crops. You can't grow your tomatoes in the same place for 20 years. You don't expect to have some problems with soil issues. And then the fourth bed, I've got my allium in here. And that's your garlic and your leeks, your shallots, your onions, and also that perennial crop of asparagus if you're growing asparagus, which normally would have its own bed anyway, because it's not one of those things that you can really rotate very well. And in the fifth bed, I've got my cucurbitaceae, hard to say, but that's your family with cucumbers and related plants such as squash, your melons, your gourds, your zucchini, and your pumpkins. So they're all the same family, and it's kind of nice to grow those in the same bed anyway because they're other really rampant sprawling habits. So nice to have them kind of contained. So it's important. So why would we think about crop rotation? Like I said, if you're an organic gardener, you want to reduce pest and disease in the garden. So things like soil-borne diseases, and rain-borne diseases, actually, like late blight. You want to maybe control some pests like cabbage moth, things like that. Or if with potatoes, you get that awful wireworm that kind of it's the larva of the click beetle, and it goes in the soil. You don't know it's there, and he's like, "Whoa, you've planted lunch for me again this year in the same spot." So by rotating it, you sort of break that life cycle of that pest, and sort of that's what you're sort of looking at doing. So in the following year, this is great. I've got all my 5 beds planted, but I think next year I'm going to have to rotate them. So it's always good to have a plan on paper of where you had things. It's easy to forget halfway through the season, you're planting new stuff and pulling and harvesting. So basically bed number 1 would come down and take bed number 5 spot, or you could reverse it and do it in a different order. And so every bed moves up a spot into a different bed. So that sort of gives you, and if you did this over 5 years, you wouldn't use the same bed for 5 years. So you're getting really good crop rotation by doing this. Now it's a little bit more challenging when you've got a smaller area. Just if you have a smaller area or only one raised bed, divide that raised bed into smaller portions, like say the square foot gardening method. You could use that as part of your crop rotation strategy by planting things, peas at one end 1 year and maybe move them to the other end of the bed the next year. If you have some real severe problems, it's always best to maybe skipping or growing a crop, especially things like garlic. It can get real rust problems, and I've seen some really bad ones last summer. So some things maybe aren't grown every year. So that's my garden tip for the day. If you have any questions about crop rotation, feel free to comment on below the post here, or get in touch with me and I answer any of your garden questions. So thanks again. It's Kristen from ThatBloomingGarden.com.